We've got some of the bikes coming out now. So we'll just try and go through this, see what we can find. Heats here, not too many numbers on some of them. I can tell you that 24 is Rob's Stowe, 1968 Trackmaster T120 Triumph. 72 is Wayne Drake. 11 Max Black, 1964 650. I think Millie the pink helmet, so I'll write one beside her name. That means I've eliminated another. Wayne Drake will be on the 72 650 twin. Number 11 now is Paul Duck, normally a local from out this way, mostly up in Oxford. Through there, I look like it's that 44 will be Kyle Smith, I would say. It says that goes 1 million through. 11 pulled up. That's 1 Mac top 52. 44 will be Kyle Smith. Just looking for Murray Royal. What do we got? Yellow SF 650. I think that's could be the 47 bike, and 6 will be Graham White. So I think eliminated it. We've got a few numbers up here. I'm sure we'll see them out again a little bit later on. Well, something we more. I'll go down the solo section. There's a couple of them. 21 needs no introduction. Had a good career. 50 is Jackie May. The got 100. Just coming out of the Springton Hotel turn on the far side. And behind her is the 69 and Crosby. Depending which bike he's running on, he's got about 5. Got 3 sheets. That's the 69. The 15 having what tell me will be his last ride on solo is Gary Jemmett. Got ex-Paul Fewings and Scott by one. So that's Gary Jemmett. So there's 21 going through. That 15 is Gary Jemmett. Oh, smell. Brilliant. There's Gary just opened it up a fraction there, coming round. See Krolls has pulled to the infield. Jackie going through. And I think that was Kane Jemmett was having a ride. That may be him on the Honda on the 57. Right, the Canterbury Vintage Speedway Enthusiastic Club that has a number of vintage TQs, midgets, saloons, modifieds and solo motorbikes. There's also a number of vintage races, rat races and hot rods might be here as well. There's getting a bigger increase of motorcycles each year, as you've seen by some of these flat trackers, and of course there is a flat track club trying to get themselves established. So just hopefully most of the vehicles can get a run in before the weather turns a bit sour, as it is supposed to. We'll just wait and see who next we have coming out. A couple of midgets at the head today is the yellow midget 17N of Peter Yateman. It's made about 1978, overhead cam Bedford. And the other one's the red and black midget, the number 7 of Keith Shoemaker. The front suspension was, and both suspensions on that was leaf springs, while the Bedford had torsion bars. So I'd just like to let you know that the shop next to the control tower is open. They've got hot chips and hot dogs and pies and drinks and anything you want in there, so please make yourself available and use that facility. It looks like that's the little 7 TQ of Nick Seed going around. This one was built in 1980. The 1200 VW motor cut in half, so it's now 610cc. A supercharged Subaru, coil-over front and rear suspension, and was built by Mike Parker. Because the other car that's out there at the moment was a former New Zealand champion TQ of Chris Bisu. Greg Lewis has restored this. It's 1986 beach chassis, a GSX 750 in there with the Hillborn ejection, runs on methanol, torsion bars front and rear. Fully restored car. Of course, when this TQ was in the hand of Chris Beach, it was virtually unbeatable. As we said, it did win the New Zealand TQ Championship, so he won that title many times. And it was a very, very good driver. As we said, the little TQ behind it, half a VW if you like, supercharged, built by Mike Parker and being piloted by Nick Seed. Right, I've got one of the first of the saloons going out there. I remember seeing this around quite a bit in its heyday. The 4C car, Bruce Scott, 2005 Honda Prelude, 2.2 VTEC engine in that, home built. So it's been supercharged and runs on methanol. The 7 car out there is Len Ellis, 1968 little Starlet, KP60. Just running the K motor in that. And our 53 driver's name is John Butler. It's a 63 Ford Anglia. A 2.3 Pinto motor in it with a HQ Holden gearbox. Victor Vauxhall front suspension. Got an Anglia diff. Holden and Morris Marina torsions, Sunbird shocks, so it's got a bit of bits of there. Built 1985-86. Campaigned until 1993 and restored in 2017. So that is the 53. That's limited saloon of John Butler's. That's the 4 car going around down the Equus back straight. Bruce Scott, which was a super saloon in its day. 2.2 litre VTEC Honda Prelude. So the first one through at the moment is Leon Ellis and the little Starlet. If you remember here of Ellesemere. So go dry conditions probably suit the bikes quite well. So some of you followed the speedway racing in those early days. The sight of those cars will bring back a few memories. Right, so got the hot rod coming out here, or that's what they've classed it as. It's Paul Henry is driving that. Said it was the rusty one. So now I've got to find the piece of paper for 22, Joe Gilman. Well, it won't be in there. Here we go. That's because it hasn't got a number on the page. They're going to let them go. So Joe Gilman, been here before in his jalopy, 1935 Ford V8 flathead. Yep, well apparently he's owned it for 50 years, raced on just about every track in the South Island, be it seal or dirt. Transverse suspension, front and rear. So it's classified as a beach racer. Of course, the other car that's doing the business, Paul Henry, 1958 Chevrolet Bel Air, 418 cubic inch Dart small block Chev, 4-speed Richmond gearbox. The suspension in it is the stock standard front and rear. It was bare metal for 26 years, street driven up to 3 years ago, now just an event car. Might have just about been an event wall. The features on that is that apparently it can produce about 700 horsepower, the fully forged engine. It's got AFR sprint car heads, it's dry sumped, supercharged, and a 31 spline 9-inch diff. So yeah, a bit of history on that one. But certainly the sweet running jalopy, the 22 of Joe Gilman, just quietly goes around and does the business. Okay, so there's a bit of news from Joe Gilman. Lives at Stillwater. I think I remember that last year over on the coast, and he drives it to all the events. So So good effort from Joe Gilman. Oh, we've got a couple of classic ones out here. Not sure who we've got. I've got a sheet that says maroon. That must be Nick Fletcher. 1951 James Cadet. Raced in the, oh, that doesn't look like maroon one, does it? 1950s and 60s. The only other sheet I've got here. Purple white Triumph 120 Rob Stoll 1968 Trackmaster. So I think that might be the two to there. That's the only two sheets we've got. It was raced by Roger Middlebrook and Nelson for many years. No, that can't be right. That's a flat. That's more the flat track. I've just got one sheet here, and it says Nick Fletcher in that 51 James Cadet. 197 3-speed. Just getting a sprinkle of water on the track. I can see in the chute a couple of red cars. They'll be the sprint cars beach races of Peter Leverslidge. Well, one's his anyway. It's driven by Greg Lewis that they've restored. It's 1985 RV chassis, a 350 Chev running on Avgas, and rear and front suspension are both torsion bars. It just is as it was raced in the 1980s, as is, it says, as raced in the 1980s. The other one is Peter Levisage, member of this vintage speedway club, the 1949 Stewart Special, Chev V8. Front suspension from a 1939 Ford V8, rear suspension the same with Ford Model T springs, built by John Jacobson. I've got a full sheet here. Built by 1949 by John Jacobson and Neil Stewart, based on the American K8 car design, which involved into sprint cars. This car was raced at Aranui Speedway and in car club events by John and Neil during the 50s. During the late 50s, it passed to Bill Harris, who was a former New Zealand midget champion in 1956 and a New Zealand beach racing champion in 1960, 62 and 63. He raced it with success at those Nelson beach races. So that's the car that Peter's driving now, with his white helmet that's just going past us now. Between 1960 and 65, it was owned by Peter and Alec Rattray, mainly racing in Southland. Peter Levisage acquired the car in 1965, won the New Zealand Beach Race Championship with it in 1970, 72 and 73, as well as racing it in many South Island events, including Wigram and Ruapuna Raceway. The car was originally powered by a Ford V8 flathead, but is now powered with a Chev V8. Peter started racing in 62, mainly in New Zealand built specials and sprint cars. Peter was a first day competitor at Ruapuna Park Raceway and Timaru Track. The present pit crew: Richard Turner, Dave Wilkinson, Brendan Seagar, and they remember Lloyd Stone, Graham Weathers and Arthur Galbraith. So that is the vintage sprint car Peter Levisage is driving out there. Then there's one of his, the 77 that Greg Lewis has got down the back straight. The two car out there, the white car, is driven by Kevin Clive. That's an original mini sprint that they built. Tom Taylor used to race that one, and it's been fully restored. The 25 modified is Wayne McCrone, originally a Roger Gleason car, 1971 that's built, with a 350 Chev in it. So the heavy rod out there, the number 7 car, was one of the ones that was originally here in the Ellesemere track. Well, it said Craig and Emma Malem are going to have a run with that. The white helmet suggests it's at Emma racing in that at this stage. So it's a Ford 250 Crossflow. There's a J2 Morris van front suspension, A55 Austin Ute rear suspension. It was raced here by John McKenzie in the 80s, originally as a Zephyr powered car. So I was told the white helmet is Emma, and that's what we've got out there at the moment. She's just sitting in front of the 25 of Wayne McCrone. Well, Greg Lewis seems to be liking that sprint car of Peter Levisage. Bring a bit of power down there. There's the original mini sprint of Kevin Clive. And that Stewart V8 special of Peter Levisage, which he's owned since 1965. Of course, today wouldn't be possible without the support from Wilson Print, Design, Print, Promote. 341C Flaxton Road, Rangiora. That is Wilson Print. Of course, Doyleston Engineering Works. They are leaders in outdoor power equipment and engineering services in the Selwyn district. Makita, SKF, Briggs and Stratton, Victor. Situated in 1 Queen Street, Doyleston. That's Doyleston Engineering Works for all your repairs and equipment here in the Selwyn district. And so's Johnston Civil, specialist in, well, all sorts of things: sheet piling, land clearing, laser work, bridges, culverts, bulldozing, development work, camshell, auger work, driveways, farm tracks, site work, subdivisions, drainage work, hedge, stump removal, stock underpasses. 25 plus wheeled and tracked excavators, 1.5 to 40 tonne, registered and certified drain layers. Trucks, graders, rollers, compactors available for hire. 38 years experience in the Canterbury area. Paul Johnson's the director. J. Johnston Civil Limited. Because if you want to catch any of the photos, I see Mark's here just recording a little bit of video coverage of some of these cars going around. Contact TJ Palmer and the team. Got a website there, www.tjphotos. They cover all sorts of events, as we said, action sports or family groups, weddings, pets and portraits. And the boys across the other side of the track. City South Van Spares, the van specialist, all mechanical repairs, rust repairs and welding, pre-purchase checks, tyres, free fitting and balancing, vehicles bought for dismantling, spares new and used, backpacker vehicles bought and sold, tow trucks available. That is City South Van Spares and Tyres. Well, a little bit of water gone down on the track. We'll see who comes out next. It looks like we've got a couple of midgets. I can see here the 17N is Peter Yateman. Built in 1978, an overhead cam Bedford. Torsion bars front and back. It's an ex-Nelson car. It was built and raced by Tony Fitch, then owned by Jimmy Paps. That's a name I remember. The 7 car out there is, of course, the Volvo, the red and black Volvo of Keith Shoemaker. Rebuilt in 2009, Leaf Spring. And we can remember that car as a young boy. I can remember that racing around at Templeton Speedway. And the other one's a real old Speedway fan was Trevor Smith. He's got himself another road car, Toyota Special. I think it's powered by a Toyota Corona, Toyota Hilux, front suspension, and a rear suspension of a Corolla. So a couple of midgets there having a bit of a run together. Shoemaker in the 7, Yateman in the 17. So one being the Volvo powered, the restored Volvo of Shoemaker, and Yateman the CF Bedford. Oh, Trevor Smith just goes down that Cochrane's back straight in the 66. The old vintage road race car having a little bit of a turn on the dirt. Going to be rounded up by the midgets now as the checkered flag comes out. So you don't forget about the shop down here. There's chips and hot dogs, hot pies, drinks and confectionery. Just to the left, or the right of the control tower as I'm sitting, the left if you're on the other side. The toilet facilities down the top end and a small block in the pit area. Right, we've got the, looks like the flat trackers coming back out again. '47, the Murray Royal, Old Thumpers Golden Bay Club, 1971 650 flat tracker, Yamaha XS 650. Not sure what they're doing. There's Paul Duck Mantons there on the 11 bike. 44, Kyle Smith. 11 Max Blacktop, 1 Millie Drake. And here's one of the maroon bikes that we're looking for before. The Nick Fletcher going around there, so we'll sort them out as they come round. That looks like 72, Wayne Drake out in front of the field. Just had a recent wee trip up north. He's followed by Murray Royal on the 47. And we go back to Kyle Smith there on that Yamaha, that number 44. Then it becomes the KX bike, that's young Millie Drake with the pink helmet on, going down the Nairn back straight. As they swing on round. Looks like we've got 11 Max Blacktop coming through there. The 6 White. Graham White. And Max Blacktop. There's Millie Drake going through. Rob Stoll on the 24. Here goes Murray Royal, just leading the 44 bike. I've got bits and pieces of paper everywhere here. And that will be Nick Fletcher on that 1951 James Cadet, that maroon bike that's just around there with that top. Paul Duckmanton, Classic Motorcycle Club, 1968 Jawara CZ360 CC. The 44 Smock Kyle Smith. So we now got a couple of the solos out there. 21 Jackie Major, of course. '57 Kane Jemmett on the little 125 junior bike. Just the two of them at present. There's 69 Alan Crosby. As Alan's 69 years of age. Went right down to lives at Makiki, went right down to Reti to race yesterday afternoon. The weather killed that one, so he just loaded up and came up here, pulled into the pits about 11 o'clock last night. I think he's got 3 bikes in a trailer, 1 in the van and 1 on the front. He's a great enthusiast. There's Cross. Still regularly competes. So he's got a number of bikes here. He's got a blue 1980 home built modified Godden to a lay down. And that's the one he's riding now. So it's got a leading link, and the motor was ex-Bruce Cribb. Another one he's got out here is a 1979 Stewart frame. It's all got a Godden motor in it and a leading link as well. And the other bike that Alan's got out here is a 1976 Wen Westlake, an H section front suspension. It's a Wen tuned Westlake Kelly Morgan special, and it's got a Comet frame that they used to be able to just to get the flex in the bike. Well, there's 2 tubes going down that frame and a very unique looking exhaust system. So whether that'll come out later or not, we're not sure. But yeah, Cross has got quite a few bikes down there, so you go down to the pits and have a little look. Now got our TQs coming back. That's Nick Seed in the 1200 half a V-dub. Just getting a push away here. And Greg Lewis back in the 98 1976 Chris Beach chassis, GSX 750 injected methanol car that has previously won New Zealand TQ title in the hands of Chris Beach. I know the day might have put a few people off. It's quite a good shower of rain when I left home at Springston coming up this way, but it's great to see that the day is brightened up a little, although it's certainly a bit cooler than yesterday, but never mind. back on track. Of course, that Swift Automotive car of Bruce Scott, Honda Prelude 2005. The restored 53 car of John Butler's driving from Riverside in Invercargill, a 63 Ford Anglia, campaigned until 1993, restored. As I said, it's got a range of different things in there: Anglia diff, Holden, Morris, Marina torsions, Sunbird shocks. And then the other little car out there is the little wee Toyota Starlet KP60 of Len Ellis that originally raced here at Ashburn, Ellesemere and Oxford. Okay, that's David Ferguson's just done a circuit round here. I saw him go through here before. They've just got that bike going, just cruising past the crowd. What, 1910 Rover. So there's 3 of those old bikes over there have been in their family all their life that John Gardner's looking after at the moment. But that was David Ferguson just tootling along there on that one. So he's got a Harley out there. So he's 1918 Harley, and what was the other one? The 1910 Douglas. So a couple of those aren't runners. Oh, I got the sheet here now. But they're down there in the pits behind that hedge, if you want to go and have a look.
Celebrating 25 years in business and with over 1,000 machines nationwide, Accessman are providing elevated work platforms to the New Zealand construction industry, delivering on the service they're renowned for. Accessman provide cherry pickers, scissor lifts and knuckle booms with a focus on safety at height. Their machines have all the latest safety features available. Call 0800 2GET-HIGH, that's 0800 2GET-HIGH.
Take it higher with accessman.co.nz.
Hi, my name is Kane Lawson, owner and operator of My New Start. I'm here in Canterbury buying as-is, where-is homes. With My New Start, it's important to me that I deal directly with every customer when facilitating the purchase of your earthquake-damaged home. From the start of the process to the final settlement, you will only deal with me. So to discuss the sale of your earthquake-damaged home, call me anytime on 0800 697 827 or visit mynewstart.co.nz.
I guess the main signs is that you can feel that the floors are not level, or certain doors stick or don't shut, or that used to. So Really, the people that pick up on that the most are people that lived in the house for a lot of years. They go, well, it was the same for 15 years, and now since the earthquake, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. If you've got things that don't work or the floor doesn't feel right, then you have got earthquake issues, yeah.
Yeah, and the best way they can discuss those issues with you is you can help them through that process.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a matter of just basically giving me a call, explain the situation, you know, the area of the house, where you live, and then we can just go from there. Come around, have a look, and assess the property.
Right, here's our, well, hot rods and jalopies. Joe Gilman in the 22. As we said, over at Stillwater, drives it over, does its run, drives back home. Plenty of features, it says, doesn't list them. Flathead Ford V8, raced on just about every track there is, dirt or sealed in the country, or at a lap round anyway. And the other one is the 1958 Chev Bel Air of Paul Henry, 418 cubic foot Dart small block Chev, 4-speed Richmond gearbox. Trying to get the tail to hang out for a good. The suspension's all stock standard. As I said before, it was bare metal for 26 years, street driven up to 3 years ago. Now it's just become an event car. 700 horsepower, fully forged engine, sprint car heads, dry sump, supercharged, 31 spline, 9-inch diff. For those that want all the technical details, I'm sure you can go down and have a closer look at that afterwards. Well, the Wilson Print Day in the Dirt here, run by the Canterbury Vintage Enthusiasts Club. I'd certainly like to thank the Ellesmere Motor Racing Club for the use of the facility. Without a track like this, for these people with their restored cars and enthusiasts to have a run, a lot of them would just stay parked up in the shed. So special thanks to the Ellesmere Motor Racing Club, formerly known as Ellesmere Speedway, for the use of the facilities. Of course, the next meeting here is on Sunday the 24th of November. Starts a little later. It's at 3 p.m. start. It's the Holden Trade Club Super Saloon Speed Week Series. It's their final round. The reason for that late start is because the previous night they've been racing in Dunedin, so they've got to give them some time to get up here and sorted the previous night or the previous day, one or the other. So that's the reason for the later start. So Sunday the 24th of November at 3 p.m, the Holden Trade Club Saloon Speed Week Series, the final round. There's a break until January the 26th when there's the CTRA New Zealand Midget title. A couple of weeks later, 9th of February, the CTRA New Zealand TQ title. And then early in March we have the annual Selwyn Burt TQ Classic, South Island Quarter Midget CTRA New Zealand titles, and thrown in with that one as a modified sprint one. So a bit of racing to come along there, and the end of March is South Island titles, which is including one for sidecars. One meeting in April, that's the New Zealand CTRA Sprint Car title, and the season here at Ellesmere winds up in May with the Ellesmere Championships, and I see there's also a Demolition Derby penciled in, and that's for all classes. Of course, Filter Crusher New Zealand is for all your filter and oil recycling. They handle oil filters, air cleaners, engine coolant, 20 litre plastic drums, 208 litre steel drums. Call them, give them a call, they can discuss the needs when they cover all of Canterbury area. Contact Move in Carmen Ferguson, clean and green. That's Filter Crusher New Zealand Limited. And we're back on track now. So it's a black helmet in the 7 heavy rod, so that should be Craig Malin, I would think. Greg Lewis back in the 77, Scott's breakdown service, ex-sprint car of Peter Levisage, the Rex Russell Raceway Spares 25 modified, formerly driven by Roger Gleeson, now owned by Wayne McCrone. The car, the 2 mini sprint, and they were a class to be reckoned with here at Ellesmere. It says built and restored by Kevin Clive. So that's Wayne McCrone down the back straight there. There's the heavy rod of Craig Malin, formerly raced here by John McKenzie. Just going quietly around the outside, and with Greg Lewis right up his butt jumper as they go down this front straight. Yes, that certainly is Craig Malin in that heavy rod.
Greg Lewis up behind him. Wayne McCrone and Kevin Clyde. Clearly remember in the day the heavy rods that used to race out here before they went to the sixes. John McKenzie, Alan Bishop, McLean boys. Certainly was a fairly quick and fast class to be reckoned with back in their day. Great to see the odd one of those cars being restored. So that's the Stewart V8 Special there of Peter Levisage, just coming out for a quiet run round there. I gave you the big history of that, the beach racing car that he has restored. It hasn't been, well, he said, well, restored, he's kept. He used to race it quite regularly himself. He's owned it since 1965. Just see the 17N car of Peter Yateman coming out again. That's the J2 Bedford. And I was just looking through there. I see Trevor Smith is lining up in his new requirement. That's the 7 car of Keith Shoemaker just idling along there, the restored Volvo. Templeton Days, that was one of the front runners. Of course, the Yateman's car was the one that was campaigned up in Nelson. Peter Yateman just leading Keith Shoemaker through there, followed by Peter Levisage in his beat racer, and then we've got Trevor Smith in his latest acquirement, the former road racing or sealed circuit car. Well, I think we'll just have a slight break and have a wee lunch break that was coming up. If we don't see anyone in the chute, that'll be what's happening. Get some of these old boys to refresh themselves, and we'll be back with you shortly.